Okay, let's see what happened there. I mean, they don't like this podcast either. The Steven Seagal one got messed with a lot, too. They can't handle the DMX truth. They just can't handle it. Let me double check the stream. Still trying to find out what happened with the other one, because there's actually no claim on it. So they just shut it down. They didn't even pretend to put a reason on it. Like the other ones all got shut down for copyright. Like they didn't even they didn't even put up there was no copyright. It always says the reason that it gets shut down, and it's usually every single previous one was either copyright or policy violation. But when I go into it, yeah, it did say that on the screen, but when I go into the settings, like it always has it there, it has nothing there. It shows it perfectly fine as a perfectly fine public stream with no issues. Like, they didn't even bother, unless this is a massive delay and there's some kind of issue with the YouTube servers. I mean, they didn't even bother putting up a reason. I mean, wow. Like, all the Seagal ones got shut down for copyright, I believe. And then the Californication podcast, by the way, that I just got that back. That was copyright, and it actually should be all good now. So let me double check that one as well. Yeah, that should be all good now. So even because it was fair use, obviously, but I had to file for that. So it might have said policy violation at the time that it got shut down, but there's nothing about that in the settings. So Sphinx Bear says you're undoing all their hard work of crafting negative narratives. All right, so let's continue. I mean, there's only half of the people in here that were in here before, so hopefully everybody finds their way to this one instead of getting frustrated. But yeah, I mean, it's so weird. It's so weird how they, like, their system has serious issues with, just because somebody reported the stream, that doesn't mean the report was accurate. So how is shutting down the stream fair to anybody? I mean, I know they do this to random people, non-conspiracy channels as well. So I'm not going to say they only target, because there's a lot of issues with a lot of users, with a lot of YouTube channels. So it's not all. I think we had like 40 people in here, I think. Now there's about 20. But let's continue with this Dr. Phil goofery. I mean, I was saying fair use literally every 3 seconds in the last Seagal one, and they still shut it down for copyright.
Being incarcerated. But I'd been in different group homes, so I was already institutionalized. It was just like another place.
What were you in for, do you recall?
No.
At 14?
No. No.
I think what we went through, he stole, I think the charge was, well, he might not know exactly which incarceration, because there was a few different times. He might honestly not remember that particular image. I think it was, one of them was allegedly stealing a junkyard dog, and, which is actually kind of crazy. Junkyard dogs are usually very, very aggressive. Who steals a junkyard dog? But anyway, and then I think marijuana was another one.
Mischievous.
Right.
Or possibly stealing stealing something, food or clothes or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Got it. Take a look at this picture. This is the day that, I believe it's the very day that you signed a record deal. What do you remember about that phase of your life?
Felt vindicated, like finally they see how talented I am.
But do you get the odds against that happening? Against someone coming from where you came from and getting to the point that you've actually been discovered to the point of signing a commercial record?
With my talent, my talent, I should have been discovered.
All right, take a look at this.
You should have. This is one of the greatest interviews I have ever seen. You have one of the goofiest of goofs in Dr. Phil, and you have literally the realest genius rapper ever. I mean, it's just complete opposite ends of the spectrum, and it's downright hilarious.
Picture. This is kind of what I call the top of your game picture. I mean, this is...
So I end all my shows, even to this date. So I end it, throwing up to X. After I pray with everybody, and then I throw up to X.
Yeah.
Dr. Phil really doesn't like all this prayer talk, does he?
Was this a happy time for you?
It's still a happy time.
You said there was a lot of problems that go with it and all.
No,
but
being on stage is one of the best times. Still, to this day, being on stage is like the best hour and a half that I get.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Best feeling in the world, being on stage.
But you don't feel that same way the rest of the time?
No, of course not. Then that would make that time special.
Yeah. Do you love yourself?
Yes.
Even when you're not there,
Yes,
just the rest of the time?
Of course, yes. It took me a long time to get there, but yes, now I do love myself, yes. I had to learn myself, meet myself, you know what I mean? And now I know myself and I love myself, yes. And I've done so for like a few years.
What did you have to overcome to get to the point that you love yourself? And this is an important question because there are a lot of people out there like yourself.
Blaming myself for a lot of things that I had no control over, accepting responsibility for the things that I do have control over, and being willing to make adjustments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a mugshot.
That's how I look without a haircut. I mean, you know, my hairline is way back here. That's why I got the bald head. It don't grow even. That's just what I look like without a haircut. That's all that is. I mean, I wasn't even high in that picture. Drunk, weed, nothing.
That's very interesting. I mean, he's giving Dr. Phil zero ammunition here, and it's absolutely fantastic.
I mean, I just got the messed up hairline. If that's a crime, then I'm going to jail right now. All right?
Well, as one that has thinning hair, I understand.
Right. You're still holding on.
My hairline is receding.
Just let it go. Let it all go. Get rid of it all, man. Ball head.
There was a time where you were...
Does Dr. Phil have no sense of humor? Like, he tried to play along there, but he didn't even laugh at that. Alien Big Cat 23, you mean the stream? I don't know why the stream got shut down. It was not copyright. I don't know if just mass people reported it, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Joyce B., I should have called that out too. Stop blaming myself for things I had no control of, accepting responsibility for things I could control. Yeah, that's quite deep as well.
Arrested for impersonating a federal agent.
Yeah, about that.
How does that
It's just like
work?
it's just some of the things you do. Like I said, like when you're a celebrity, it's rare that you get fair treatment. You either can get away with anything or get arrested for nothing. And I mean, that's another bombshell too. That's a good point. How often do celebrities actually get the exact, well, I don't want to say exact same treatment as a private citizen, because private citizens many times are not treated fairly either. But yes, it seems like celebrities either get away with everything or they want to get them for anything.
Shane 187 says probably Dr. Phil shut it down. Yeah, I think it must have been mass reporting because it didn't say copyright. It didn't say anything specifically. It still doesn't. It still doesn't give any reason. There's no flag on it at all. So I have no idea what happened. It was probably some kind of mass reporting, and maybe they knew it was fake, which is why they didn't even bother flagging it with anything. Shifty Eyes Shady says DMX was a nice guy at heart. Several reports of DMX meeting fans on commercial passenger planes where he gave tickets and VIP passes to women and fans he met on the plane. Yeah, I mean, he also frequently ate with homeless people. I mean, this guy was probably the realest of them all. And as I postulated at the beginning of the part one, I think he might be the linchpin to bring down the entire cabal, because he's been blowing the whistle on this stuff for a long time.
Actually late in the airport, and I had an expedition. I had the police package in there. I put a supercharger in there, the blacked out rims, I had the police lights, the siren, the PA system, all that. And this guy was driving in front of me, and he's driving really slow, and I'm like, I hit the lights. And he pays me no mind. I'm like, hold up, he's not respecting my authority right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, pull over. I hit him on the PA system, and he still didn't pull over. So I ran around, I pulled him, I'm like, yo, homie, like, what if I was a real, emergency vehicle? So I just cut him off, I jumped out, I was like, yo, man. And I told the lady, it was in the parking lot, airport parking lot, I said, call the police, this guy's driving like an ass. And of course, the police run out and run straight to the black guy. All right, hands up.
I mean, this is an interesting point here. This is a very interesting point. He was concerned that if a true emergency vehicle, they were trying to save someone's life, and this other vehicle wasn't respecting that. I mean, that's interesting. So it sounds like he never actually claimed to be an officer, right, or a federal agent. He just had a vehicle with emergency lights on them. I mean, did he say the words, like, what is impersonating a federal agent? Let me actually look up the exact crime on that. And he could have been local PD. It sounds like they just wanted to charge him with something higher. Oh, because, well, actually, so it's a felony. So it's falsely presenting oneself to be an officer, agent, or employee. Okay, so this could involve detaining a person in any manner, searching a person, building, or any property of a person. So if he motioned for them to get off the road, is that detainment or a suggestion? I mean, I don't know. Pretends to be an officer or employee. Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. That's tough. Because it doesn't state you have to verbally say you're a federal officer. You have to, the actions of that. So, yeah, it's tough. Pam Ronning says police lights are illegal. So, well, they're called emergency lights, and security vehicles, well, it depends on which lights. And also, if they are legal for theatrical purposes, so if he was, let's say, shooting a music video, they can have them. I don't know about the permitting situation on that, but I also think... I mean, it's tough because you can have, like, they do have law enforcement packages on vehicles that are legal. I don't think you can have the police light bar on it unless it's deactivated. Because you can buy used police cars. Yeah, it's a vague rule. Apparently, if it mimics if it's too closely resembling, like you can have a white one. You can have a white or yellow. You can have it's the red and blue lights. So technically, if it mimics actual emergency lights, that's illegal. But you can have any lights that don't mimic. So it's tough. I just looked it up. Yeah, it's weird. Christopher Allen says, I got arrested about 20 years ago for illegal use of emergency lights in Washington State. It was a jailable offense. What are the chances that out of the very few dozen people watching that one of them actually got arrested for this? So so this was blue neon, but no red? Was there any red or no? Because from what I'm reading, it has to mimic emergency. So if it's white, see, maybe blue is one of the restricted colors even without the red. Okay, so only blue. Yeah, it's a little bit vague. It says if it mimics red. So I'm seeing red and blue is illegal. Doesn't say red or blue, but I don't know. Apparently, if you're a private security company or a private police force, non-government, you can use them, but you have to be registered in some capacity. Apparently, there's also different laws for different states. Huh. So Florida looks like the only state that explicitly bans blue lighting. The other states are blue and red. I don't know the years. Maybe they had different years. Yeah, it looks like Florida explicitly bans blue lights on private vehicles. But no other state, every other state is blue and red. Again, maybe this differs state to state. I don't know. Something else is here saying red and blue police lights, red and blue lodges in Freemasonry. Nothing to see here. Yeah. And Christopher Allen says, I ended up paying an $80 fine. So, I mean, a lot of people do have those police packages. And even without the lights, a lot of people get out of their way because they think they're cops, even though they don't present themselves as such. Now, it's also curious, did he put the siren on or was it just flashing? Because I believe that could also be a different category of offense. But, all right. Let's continue here.
I'm like, I called you guys. Yeah, they came and locked me up. And I said, yeah.
So you called the cops on yourself?
I told the parking lot lady, the parking lot attendant in the airport, security, and to call the police because he was driving. Like, he seemed to be under the influence of something because he was just like,
Seems like.
Well, it seems like DMX would be able to identify another driver under the influence. Yeah, Alien Big Cat 23. Yeah, red and blue parties, red and blue teams. Yeah, red and blue corner boxing or combat sports. Yeah. Yeah, this was weird. So he reported someone else for driving in an unsafe manner, and they arrested him because of the light package in the vehicle. Well, not because he used the lights in the vehicle.
You've been arrested 25 times for nothing.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
You have been guilty of something.
Of course, I've been guilty of a lot of things.
I mean, it's just so hilarious how Dr. Phil is getting shut down every second. He's trying to make it seem like DMX is an idiot or not willing to take responsibility. Like he's trying to straw man just because DMX wouldn't regret anything, it's as if he's done nothing wrong.
Okay, I've got some tweets up here. See them on the screen up there?
Yeah.
Ed Healed Heart said, stop blaming everything on being a celebrity. You've done things that deserve to be addressed and changed. Respond to that.
No, because I don't even know who that is. So I'm not even going to waste time on.
DMX is giving this goof nothing. He's giving the goof 0.
I'm talking to somebody who I don't know who it is. One thing I've learned that is to not to accept anybody's belief about how they feel about me. Because when you believe, if you believe them when they tell you that you're on top of the world and you're the king, then you're going to believe them when they tell you that you ain't. So it's like, you know what? Appreciate the compliment, if it's a compliment, but I'm going to stick to what I believe about myself, and I love me. So I don't want to hear the good or the bad.
It seems hugely illogical to have 12 children with 6 different women.
I mean, I like how he totally changes the subject from the arrests. Like, I mean, the goof's got nothing on him. As if Dr. Phil knows anything about logic.
Do you make any effort to not get women pregnant? I mean, do you ask about birth control? Do you use birth control? Do you?
Well, you know what? I mean, I can see why you might feel like that, but I look in my children's eyes and I can't picture life without them, each one of them.
It's real hard to divide daddy by 12. It's real hard.
Yeah, Dr. Phil is desperate. I mean, look at this goof sputtering, though. I mean, there's people that have one kid that are never around for them. I mean, we don't know the timeline. Maybe DMX isn't around for his kid. But maybe he's around more for each of his kids than quite a lot of other fathers out there.
Belongs to the world.
Okay, daddy may belong to the world, but his responsibility are to his children.
Got that. Got that.
Right?
Got that. And they are well-mannered, well-raised children.
All right, well, let's take a break.
Let's take a break. He already took responsibility for all of them right at the beginning. I mean, Dr. Phil he's just going around in a circle now trying to recatch him on the same thing DMX already shut him down before.
Next, we're going to meet DMX music producer and longtime friend who says DMX needs to go from a wildfire to a controlled fire. We'll find out what he means next, and he knows this one's here. This is not an ambush.
That's a good point, Shifty Eyes Shady. Shifty Eyes Shady saying also how many women have entrapped DMX into having a baby. And is DMX the kind of man that would slander the mother of his children by saying, oh, she said she was on birth control, but she wasn't? Is he the type of guy to slander and say that? I don't know. And he might not want his kids to hear that, even if it's true. And if he's grateful for the child anyway, regardless of whether there was entrapment or not, and he wouldn't undo the entrapment because that would mean undoing that life.
He knows that, he knows he's here. We'll be right back.
Fair use. Fair use. This is all fair use, Dr. Phil. You goof. This is obviously fair use.
Well, from multiple arrests to filing bankruptcy to running around a hotel naked, he's been willing to talk about anything. Many people are wondering what is behind popular rapper DMX's troubling behavior. Now, his music producer, Grease, admits to being concerned for his longtime friend, who he loves very, very much.
So Dr. Phil completely failed. So now he has to call a friend in. phone a friend to try to get DMX on something.
Take a look.
X is one of my best friends. I know DMX for 20 years, and we've been working together ever since and been just like family. I'm concerned about X. X needs help overcoming substance abuse.
Well, I mean, DMX agrees to all that.
And addiction. X is a drug user and he has problems with cocaine. We could be at a club, at a bar.
Wow, his friend there seems to be just as intoxicated, if not more so, than DMX. I mean, look at that guy's face. That guy looks more gone than DMX.
There always will be persons that come up to say, hey, bro, I got some coke. You want a bump? The temptation is always there. X have to work on better relationship with his family.
I mean, how many fathers out there that you wouldn't even be able to find a photo out now? Again, I'm not excusing any irresponsible behavior. I'm just saying that it's like, it's almost like there's a clear propaganda campaign here. How many countless fathers, their kids don't even know them and have never seen them? I mean, there's actually an epidemic of that. Lord Zed stating, this guy got $200 for this and then bought crack. Hey, I mean, that'd be very sad if that happened, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past Dr. Phil to pay these people off to say something. I mean, so far, this has actually been the most entertaining Dr. Phil interview because DMX absolutely obliterated the goof.
With the same blood as him, by any means necessary. I want Dr. Phil to help X with substance abuse by way of helping him mend up the holes that's in him. X.
How the heck is Dr. Phil gonna do that? How is this deceiver gonna help an honest man? Yeah, D-Town Book saying, it's like there are two shows realities, DMX being real and honest, Dr. Phil determined to slander the reputation of someone independent of who it is. Phil needs help, yeah.
He's in a point in his life where change have to happen now, right now.
Oh, wow, I'm sorry to hear that, Aaron. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that aren't, I mean, hopefully he's at least positively impacting somebody's life, but DMX is positively impacting countless people's lives and still making time, however little, for his children.
Well, Grease is with us today, so I appreciate it. Met you just a little bit. We were doing some math earlier. You guys have known each other 20 plus years.
Yes, sir.
Right? But yet you say that out of all of that time, he needs to make a change now. What change does he need to make?
Really calming down with a lot of the outside of different things, is coming back into whole, to more family, more love, more natural things.
Right.
Yeah.
More natural? What does that mean? I mean, this is really weird. Like, he's trying to ambush him. Didn't DMX say not to bring, or did he only say, wait a second, at the beginning, did DMX say that he could only not bring on family members, but he could bring on other people who knew him? Or did he say he couldn't bring on anybody and only ask questions?
You said in your lyrics, you bare your soul.
Yes.
You said you really open up and bare your soul. And, well, I want to take a look at some of the lyrics from your song.
How about I pick the lyrics?
Man, DMX is letting this goof get away with nothing. This should be very interesting here.
Who We Be. I think you'll like these lyrics. The hurt, the pain, the dirt, the rain, the jerk, the fame, the work, the game.
I like what you said. Yeah. Did it.
The friends, the foes, the bins, the hoes, these studios, the shows. Why don't you just read it? I like the way
shows, it comes and it goes. The jealousy, the envy, the phony, the friendly, the one that gave him the slugs, the one that put him in me, the snakes, the grass, too long to see. The lawnmower sitting right next to the tree. It's right there, just mow that grass and you'll see the snakes.
Yeah.
Snakes like Dr. Phil.
So you write
Everything I say, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you write all of your songs?
All of my lyrics. I wouldn't be able to call myself an artist if I didn't write.
You've had, I guess I would call it a gospel song, or certainly
Gospel song and a conversation with the Lord on every album.
On
Yes.
every
Since the beginning.
album. Lord, give me a sign. I pulled some of those lyrics out. Tell me what these lyrics are and what they mean.
It's a conversation with the Lord. I really need to talk to you, Lord. It's the last time we talked. The walk has been hard. Now, I know you haven't left me, but I feel like I'm alone. I'm a big boy now, but I'm still not grown. I'm still going through it, pain and the hurt, soaking up trouble like rain in the dirt. And I know only I can stop the pain with just a mention of my Savior's name. In the name of Jesus, devil, I rebuke you for what I go through and trying to make me do what I used to. But all that stops right here. As long as the Lord's in my life, I will have no fear. I will know no pain from the light to the dark. I will know no shame, spit it right from the heart, because it's right from the start that you held me down and ain't nothing they can tell me now. Lord, give me a sign.
They didn't even show Dr. Phil's face during that. Like, they were too afraid to even show the goof's face. And how many artists, like, his eyes were closed. He wasn't even looking at the lyrics on the screen. How many artists can perfectly recite any of their hundreds of songs with soul, too? Not just regurgitate, but on, with rhythm and conviction. I mean, is there anybody that doubts that he writes his own music? Because a lot of people don't. I mean, most artists don't. The majority don't. And so not just perfect recall of all lyrics of all songs at all times, whether he's high or not, whether he's on drugs or not. I mean, this is incredible. He's rebuking the devil here, which is working through Dr. Phil right now. And they showed his face before, but for some reason on that stint, like in this, they didn't show it here.
You've had a song on every album, A Conversation with God.
Yes.
You've had...
And a prayer.
And a prayer. And I think you've had...
Three conversations with the devil.
Three conversations with the devil. Why with the devil?
Well, to make a fair decision, I think you have to be aware of both sides.
Who has ever said anything that real before? Anywhere. Mainstream or not. I mean, that's crazy. Lord Zed says someone needs to sample Dr. Phil reading those lyrics. I could do that. I could actually have him spit those rhymes, and Dr. AI spit some Dr. Phil rhymes, but I don't know. Dr. Phil's just such a goof. I don't know if I'm going to even waste the time on that.
And I was approached, so of course I had a conversation.
I was approached. Let me replay that again.
A conversation with God.
Yes.
You've had...
And a prayer.
And a prayer. And I think you've had...
Three conversations with the devil.
Three conversations with the devil. Why with the devil?
Well, to make a fair decision, I think you have to be aware of both sides. And I was approached, so of course I had a conversation. It doesn't mean I rode with him or believed him. I just was able to recognize him by what he said to me and what he offered me. Say, oh, now I know you are. That's why I stopped talking to him. I've put out 7 albums, but he's only on 3.
I mean, this is crazy. Like, how real? Man, 8-Wit that 24, 8-Wit the 24. Did you watch part 1? Tupac may have been a manufactured shill. Not real at all. Watch part 1. We actually went through all that. DMX is the realist. I mean, yeah, that is true, Lord Zed. I mean, the devil tried to tempt Jesus as well. That is true. That is true, Lord Zed. But just the honesty here. The devil's on 3 of his albums. I mean, this guy, nobody is more real than DMX here. This is so, like, he's been calling all of this out the entire time, too. It's not like he was part of the deception up to a certain point.
Right. All right, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Dr. Phil does not like this conversation. Look at the goof's face. Look at the goof's face. DMX gave him nothing. He just threw it all back in the goof's face. The devil trying to work through Dr. Phil and DMX rebuking him at every turn. I mean, this might be my favorite Dr. Phil interview.
I love women. That I've been the same way since day one, you mean?
Okay.
And I made you aware of it. I'm gonna many as I want to until my falls off.
I mean, that's quite real as well. That's quite real as well. And wouldn't you think if DMX wasn't careful, he would have, I don't know, 100 children, 200 children, just doing the basic math here. Eight with the 24 says, you can't really say they're completely real because the blood on the album is a ritual. I love X, but that's goat blood. Well, hold on a second. We don't really know that that's goat's blood. I know that whatever exec said it was, but that's not proof. It would be interesting on whether or not what DMX said that was, if he was ever asked about it, because I would obviously believe him over anybody else speaking about it. But even if it was, he's still the realist because he was completely honest about being courted by the devil. He he basically kind of stuck one foot in the door, and that's what he talked about. But I don't think he completely sold his soul.
Well, after 14 years of marriage, multiple affairs, and 6 children out of wedlock, controversial music artist DMX and his wife
Was it really necessary to say out of wedlock? I mean, a lot of people have kids. Was it really necessary to say out of wedlock?
finally decided to call it quits, but not before making one last-ditch effort to save their marriage. They were on the VH1 reality show Couples Therapy, and he's correcting me while I'm reading this.
Right,
so.
that was not to save our marriage.
Okay, what was it?
We were already separate. We realized we were friends. We had a good relationship. What happened was she said that there were some things that she didn't get a chance to say because of how we broke up, and I gave her the opportunity. You know, I'll go on the show with you. I'll do it. I'll do it. And
here's a clip of what
happened. It didn't really turn out too good.
Once I found out everything and everything hit the fan, you know, we separated, but it felt like I was more abandoned because I know I gave my all. You know, I was innocent in the situation from someone that I really loved. So it's like on top of me not really having a husband, which he didn't ever realize, I also didn't have a father for my children because it was like I was being mommy and daddy.
Dave Scott in the house. Thanks for the $20 super chat. Sorry, I've been busy with work. Love DMX. Yeah, you're really going to enjoy these podcasts then, because I might have to crown him the realest rapper ever, and possibly probably the greatest. We might have to say he's the greatest. Kind of hard to pick anybody else at this point. And also, as the conspiracy goes, I think he's the linchpin to exposing the entire Illuminati cabal. Sins of Oblivion says DMX was sacrificed in my opinion. Okay, can you expand on that? Because I think DMX had the armor of God. Just being able to go through, the physical and emotional abuse as a child. He literally got in some kind of massive car accident. He had physical beating induced asthma, going through all these group homes, incarcerations, and still becoming successful in spite of that, and then being approached by the devil and all these scum trying to get him to participate in their debauchery and degeneracy, and he would not compromise. They couldn't break him from everything we've been looking at here. So I don't know if how could he be sacrificed if he has the armor of God? If it was his time, it was his time. Or maybe he's still alive. Again, we don't really know, but it seems like, again, there can't be a violation of the will. And they thought they could break him, which is why they let him achieve the success he had. And I think it was if I had to guess, I would think that it was a game to them, and they kind of thought it was funny and entertaining that DMX wouldn't break like everyone else did, so they thought it would be that much more fun to get him to break. And when it became evident that he had the armor of God and he couldn't be broken no matter what, no matter how many drugs, no matter how many arrests, no matter anything, he would not be broken because he has the armor of God. That's the point where they turned against him. Because that is my read of the situation, Sphinx Bear, because it doesn't make sense that he would have been allowed to have the success he had unless they let him in the door to some extent. And the only way I could think of him being able to do that is if these scum were entertained. These scum were entertained by the fact that they couldn't break him. And that's what they get pleasure from breaking people. Because that's where these sick scum, that's what they do. They want people to give up to it of their own free will, because the devil cannot violate God-given free will. And they just couldn't break the guy. And at a certain point, they realized he couldn't be broken no matter what. And I think that's why we might have to say he's the greatest of all time. All right, Alien Big Cat, catch you next time. Yes, Joyce B. I mean, think about it. These scum break everybody early. They break them quick. They break them fast. Now they get this 1 in a million character in DMX. He's like their new plaything. They know he won't be broken easy. I mean, he turns down P. Diddy, possibly punches him out. He didn't name him, but he said he punched out some exec that propositioned him. And, I mean, this is crazy. Dave Scott, they also shut down our first stream with no actual... It said policy violation, but there is none showing up on my end. Oh, actually, finally... Okay, one just show... A copyright did show up. Huh, that's weird. Some kind of random melody. Huh. It was just some kind of background track, looks like it. Okay, whatever. That's weird. I don't think they would have shut it down for that, because that happens all the time, but... Yeah, I think Dr. Phil or Dr. Phil followers just mass reported it, because we were calling out Dr. Phil's goofery, and the cabal doesn't like it because he's obviously their agent. Yeah, Sins of Oblivion, they probably did make a game out of it to see how long they could... I don't think, yeah, how long it would take to break him. And once it was evident that he simply wouldn't be broken. I mean, because obviously God is the light and the truth, and the devil's the father of lies, and he just keeps speaking truth to power, and like, it's just crazy. Yeah, no matter how many times they lock this guy up. Yeah, 8 with the 24. Check out episode 1. I don't think selling the soul is a quick verbal transaction. I think it's a series of actions. And I think even if DMX might have agreed for, let's say, money only, and then when all of these satanic, debaucherous propositions were put forward by these sick executives, like, he would never cross that line. So he did cross the line for money, but money only. I mean, I had lyrical ability, immortal technique as number 1. But just overall, I think we have to put DMX at number 1, just if we're looking at all the variables.
I think it's best that we just stay friends for real, and we raise our children together, and there's no intimacy. I think it works better like that.
Are you glad you did that? She asked you to do it. Are you glad you did it, or you're not glad you did it when you did this reality show, this VH1 couples?
I don't really remember. But one thing I'm not going to do is say anything negative or derogatory about that woman. And
I'm not asking you.
No, I'm just putting that out the gate. I'm just letting you know that that's not going to happen. You know, she's a good woman.
You know Dr. Phil wants that to happen. You know Dr. Phil is fishing for anything, and DMX is giving him nothing. I mean, how classy is it of DMX to just not say anything negative about the mothers of his children?
We have a good relationship, and I'll leave it at that.
You've said that you recognize that you have an anger and a temper.
Yes.
What are you angry about? Why do you think you're angry?
What, now?
No, just in general.
Oh, different things get me angry. Like, I can't, there's no one thing that, well, somebody ignoring me, that gets me angry.
How's
More
this
than some,
interview?
less than
How's this
others.
interview gone so far?
I'm hungry.
DMX has a great sense of humor. I mean, especially considering what he went through. Joshua Yetow saying Beast 1333 is like Immortal Technique, but goes even deeper than Tech. That's interesting. Yeah, the one drawback on Tech is that he's kind of a commie, but his lyrical ability is quite impressive. I'm gonna have to check out Beast 1333.
Hungry. I want to eat. I mean, we got off to as good a start as we could. Meeting you was a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? You know, the little meeting we did beforehand. I appreciate that. I could see the genuineness in you. You know, you're also the host of a TV show, and you have a job to do as well.
I mean, genuine about what? About trying to catch DMX? Like, the thing about DMX is he's so intelligent. He speaks on so many levels. I mean, obviously he's going to be polite and respectful to a certain degree. But yeah, this is hilarious. Now, he's been genuine about what, though, DMX? Genuine about what?
Respect that, but I'm not really a morning person. So, like I said, it got off to as best start as it could. You know?
Well, also, I mean, DMX is truly about the Bible and loving your enemies and praying for your enemies. So, yeah, it is. I mean, I actually can't read DMX there in terms of what he said he was genuine about. Because if he's a genuine deceiver, which he obviously is, like, and DMX says things on many levels all the time, and he's so intelligent. I'm really not sure if he didn't specify what he was genuine about. Yeah, Dr. Phil's a goof. Oh, yeah, that's actually a good point, Joyce B. Because he followed that up with, you have a TV show and you have a job to do. And that's a nice way of saying, I know who you are. Yes, if he's a genuine agent of the cabal, obviously DMX is really good at seeing through people like that. Oh, wow. I always forget how to say your name. EvalZQQNQ says, I did a song with Immortal Technique when he was in his prime. He is very commie and genuinely hates America. Sad. Well, his lyrical ability is very incredible, though. Yeah, I think that I have to switch to DMX being number one, because DMX also has that ability. But just overall, like, Immortal Technique is very real about certain things. I would say Immortal Technique's real about everything, but he just has some, these commie notions that he's genuine to those commie notions. But obviously, big picture, that doesn't quite work. Whereas DMX seems to just be so real and raw, and everything seems to be a lot more balanced on exposing truth on both, the devil, God, the conversations. Yeah, what song did you do with Immortal Technique? Because I'm actually familiar with basically his entire catalog. Yeah, I got some work to do catching up with DMX. Because like I said, this is coming from someone who wasn't a DMX fan, and I think I have to put him at number one.
It's 1:30.
Yeah, I'd still be asleep normally.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're kind of a night owl?
Yes, I do the studio at night. If I'm going to do a show, it's at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I'm not really up at this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm here.
Yeah. You are. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to talk about? Anything that you want to set the record straight on? You want people to understand about you?
You know what? I really don't care. I really don't care. I get enough love from the people that know me, to get me through. I'm all right. I'm all right. Whatever you don't know about me, you won't know about me. So.
I mean, the level of security from DMX here, it's like Dr. Phil is like a leech. He's like a vampire leech. He feeds off of insecurity, and DMX might be the most secure, balanced individual he has ever interviewed. And it's crazy. Oh, wow. Joyce B says, I had never heard of DMX until tonight, so I appreciate your selecting him and doing a deep dive. Yeah, I mean, he really appears to be the realest rapper. Sins of Oblivion says, Cat Williams said DMX was DMX through and through. Even at restaurants, he spoke to the waitresses how he acts on his interviews, videos. Yeah, I mean, the level of security, like, DMX doesn't need anything from Dr. Phil. He doesn't need Dr. Phil's validation because he's a man of God and he can see through the deceiver that is Dr. Phil. The audience, I think, recognizes this on at least a subconscious level. Razorblade Death Sticks is the song Evol ZQQ and Q. Let me see, have I heard this song? Let me play it real quick. Yeah, it's a good song. Am I allowed to say your name? I mean, there's a name here. There's two names here. I don't wanna say your name if you don't want people to know. But that's a cool tune. That's a cool tune. Oh, I thought you might have been Mac Lethal. Yeah, I think we can safely say that DMX is the realest rapper of all time, and the exposer of the Illuminati cabal more so than anybody else, at least in the mainstream.
Let it go.
Final comments with DMX when we come back.
I don't know if it's one of those little.
Need to get real? Go to drphil.com for advice on relations.
Who wants Dr. Phil's advice? Who wants this deceiver's advice?
Community. When you
I think one of these jingles might have been the
automatically be subscribed to the Dr. Phil Show.
What a goof.
Some huge DMX fans flocked to Twitter with some pressing questions when they found out DMX was going to be on the show. You see some of them up here. Carrillo Sue says, stop talking and listen, DMX. It's a Dr. Phil show. Put your defense down and don't squander this opportunity.
Wow. Wow, this opportunity to be made a mockery of by the devil. Wow, look at that goof. That's probably a Dr. Phil plant.
Do you think you've been defensive?
Somewhat.
What has made you that way?
I don't remember what exact incident, but I mean, I'm just naturally defensive. I am protected because I have a good heart, so I need to protect it. So.
I mean, just the level of real and raw here. I mean, this is awesome. I mean, this has to be my favorite exposing of Dr. Phil. 8 with that 24. If you could watch the first part of this and then comment, I would like to hear your feedback on it. If I think you're the one who said you did exposés on the industry, because I mean we're building off everything we went over in part 1.
So I am somewhat defensive.
Let's be real here, tweeted. In what ways do you think your antics are affecting your children?
That's definitely another plant.
My children see me. They know me. They know the person that I am. So, you know, of course it might be hurtful as far as school goes, whatever. You know, children can be cruel, and, you know, they're warriors at the same time, and it's just give them a tough skin, a tougher
But
shell.
they know you.
They know me. They know who their father is, and they love their father, and they know their father loves them.
Now, Mama Roz is here. Ask him your question.
How's your life as a rapper, entertainer, and actor contributed to some of the bad choices you've made over the years?
They've made substances easily available to me. You know, made them easier to get, made them more popular, more cool to do. You know, but it's also taught me to fight, to be humble. You mean? And it's not as easy as people think it is. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're on top of the world and millions of dollars is just to remain humble and feed somebody that's hungry. And at the end of the day, you're only worth what you can do for somebody else.
At the end of the day, you're only worth what you can do for somebody else. I mean, DMX dropping all these truth bombs on Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil's too much of a goof to even comprehend any of them. Here's testimony from Swizz Beats. This is The Guardian by Dean Van Nugen. DMX was a hero. He would give clothes off his back to the homeless. Swizz describes DMX as being in a great space toward the end. There were plans for him to take up a 2-month workout program in preparation for the album release. Yet on April 2nd, DMX was rushed to White Plains Hospital, New York, following a reported drug OD where he was placed on life support and died a week later. The final time Swizz spoke to him was just before boarding a flight, with DMX asking if they could connect soon. 3 days later, Swizz received an unusual text. He just wrote to tell me how appreciative he was for everything I've done for him. I'm like, why is he writing this? Then I wrote him back. I sent him this old school hip hop playlist, and that was the last time I heard from him. It was very quick. Swizz is now overseeing the rollout of Exodus and telling the world of what he sees as the rapper's true nature. Quote, I know there's a lot of negative stories, but DMX was a humanitarian. He was a hero for the people. He would give clothes off his back to homeless people and walk home in his boxers. He would pull over the car and talk to a homeless person or a mother that looked like she needed help with something. He was doing this every day. It wasn't for press or social media. The way you'd find out what DMX was doing was through other people posting it, never him. He never posted any of these good deeds at all or talked about them. I feel like that's what people should know. DMX was a giver. I mean, imagine if Dr. Phil wasn't Illuminati puppet shill, he would have found those stories and put them up on the screen, right? I mean, think about how much of a puppet, a shill puppet, Dr. Phil is. Wait, are we still live? Stream still going? Yeah, I think it's still going. Let me double check. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, so if Dr. Phil was actually genuine, he would have definitely brought up all of DMX's good deeds, not a peep about him. Not a peep. Yeah, maybe I should speed up the video a little bit. Yeah, that is weird. So YouTube cut out and then came back? That's interesting. At least it saves me the trouble of having to create a new stream, although it probably... I'm guessing it's gonna get shut down again at some point. We still have a couple things to go over, but... Yeah, Sphinx Bear, see you next time. D-Town Books as well. Okay.
I'm Roz.
All right. Now, I asked you if there was anything else you wanted to say, and you said no, because...
Well, actually, there's one thing I want to say. Anybody, any prayer warriors, any Christians in the house, keep me. Pray for me, and I pray for you. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I want to say.
You know, I have to say, and I think you probably have already said you disagree with this, but I have to say, I think that the fact that you had a history as an addict and you say that you're out of that dark place at this point, but that you're still drinking and smoking weed is playing with fire. And I think that is a danger to you. I think it's a danger to anybody that's been down that road. And I think you telling yourself that you can do that and control it and it's not a problem.
That's not what I said.
Well, it's
Straw manning Dr. Phil. I like how quick DMX is to correct the goof.
what you're doing.
I said it's taking away one thing at a time. It ain't gonna just take everything away all at once. Unless you know what you're talking about, you shouldn't say it.
Well, putting Dr. Phil in his place. Putting the goof in his place, yeah.
You can say that because I haven't been there, I don't know what I'm talking about. I do know what I'm talking about, and I have buried many a kid that has wound up down a dark road with drugs because he's going to do this a little bit here and a little bit there. And
He's buried kids? What? What? What is he talking about?